If you had native soil and it was really a lot of clay, the reality is we got to get at least 1/3 biomass in our mix. And the other 2/3, I only want 1/3 of that at most to be a clay type stuff, something that holds moisture. Now, there is a benefit to clay. It's not like I want all the clay out. You don't need to get it all out. There actually is a benefit to having some clay in your soil because it will hold that moisture for an extended period of time in kind of a cooled state. I mean, that's one of the blessings and gifts of Arizona soil is that once the water gets in it, it'll stay in it for a very long time. Now, as long as you got the right texture and you got the right nutrients, that's benefit. But if you don't, then it's just cesspool and you can have some problems. So it still needs to be able to drain, still needs to be able to move, still needs some air. So only 1/3 of that soil do I want to be this nasty clay. Now, if I've got more of a texture type stuff as the second third, so I want texture things. I want things that texture and maybe can hold some soil, hold some beneficial bacterial activity, even things like lava rock or sand. These are things that create surface area where beneficial bacteria can accumulate that can help, again, create more accessibility to our root systems for the nutrients that we have in our soil. So bioactive, that if you get a potting mix, they'll often come with perlite or vermiculite. And those are kind of soil builders. They're structure builders. They create open spaces and air spaces, and air is important to the whole mixture of getting things to grow. And so that's one of the reasons it's there. But if you already got some sand or a little bit of gravel, it's kind of in your soil, that can take up to another 1/3, but that's max. And then the third is organic material, living organic material. Now, one of my favorite products that we've been using here a long time, just getting into the native soil, is Kellogg's Amend. And the Amend specifically has a lot of, it's a very dense mix of a broad range of bioactive and really living biomass. There's bat guanos in there. There's other manures in there, composted manures. There's sometimes they've got perlite. Well, I guess they wouldn't have any perlite in there. They got, that's another name that starts with a P. Peat moss. There we go. So it's got some of that stuff in it that can help amend the soil, that can hold the moisture a lot better, and it's alive. And so those types of mixtures are great to then mix into that soil in that's that last third that you're mixing into the soil, make it work right. Other things like composted steer manure is actually really good. Mixing that in, that could qualify as that. Composted chicken manure is really good that you can mix into that. Your own compost, that's all composted down. All good things. Now, you notice I haven't said that there's anything, I don't want any really slimy, fresh, stinky stuff. Whatever you're putting in shouldn't start off smelling bad. If it starts off smelling bad, it hasn't broken down enough, and it's going to have to break down, and it's going to create a whole different chemical mess for your plants that could burn the plants. It could be what they call you get heat stress from chemical activity. Rather than just from the heat that we already have native here in Arizona. So I want to mix in about 1/3 of that biomass, good composted materials of a broad range of things. The more broad, the better. So if I've got rabbit droppings, I've got goat droppings, so there's a lot of different things that you can do all mixed into your soil. That creates a great living environment for your soil to continue to grow and to grow your plants.